So we scoured the FAST process and accompanying tools and stripped them of any relevant persona insight to add to our deliverables. We've completed all of the regional introductions, all the RSMs across the regions. We've conducted 7 formal rep interviews and a number of offhand other conversations. We have conducted 5 interviews, like we talked about, customers, 1 prospect, and we have 4 more scheduled for the remainder of this week. And then thanks to Steve, we've redoubled our efforts to reach out and engage with those non-responsive reps and customers. Over the next 30 days, Mark and Corey are working together on content planning and potential agency introductions. As we iterate through the 3 existing persona types, they'll become more distinctive and unique from one another. And we'll be guided by our interview findings as we build those out. For example, of the 5 interviews we've had so far, 4 of them were technical personas, so technical Trish. So we're starting to pivot now towards pursuing interviews with Revenue Ralph, Affordable Alan, some of those different buyer types. Our plan is to complete 20 of these by the end of January. That will give us roughly 4 to 5 interviews per persona, which is good enough for a version 0.5. And then we'll use the first 2 weeks of February after that to kind of go after and target those personas that are particularly unfinished. In the for the pilot plan, our plan is to test the working prototype version 0.5 in the central region with Glenn Zerby and his team. We'll do a limited rollout to do some QA on the personas and DPMs and confirm that they're both usable and useful to the AE, so that we're not tripping anyone up, any of the newer guys, by providing too much information or not providing enough for those AEs that have been in the industry for years. Afterwards, after that rollout and the confirmation that we're on the right track, we'll bake those deliverables and use them in the train-the-trainer sessions that Mark and I will be conducting. And then here on the right, you can see the images is our status quo. And as we talked about, you can see there are a couple RSMs who have been put in a pretty Herculean outsized effort and put in a lot of time trying to get me in touch with their reps. So I want to point them out. Any questions, guys, on the customer interviews, prospect interviews, directionally?
20 additional by the end of the month.
Say that again?
20 additional by the end of the month.
So 20 total by the end of the month. So we've
Total, and you've done 5.
done 5, correct?
Okay.
That's the plan.
We have 7 scheduled, is that correct?
4 scheduled for this week.
And then 3 for next.
And I don't want to put them in because they're kind of not sure yet. So.
Do we, I mean, I understand that to introduce you guys to an existing account, you want the sales rep to kind of make that soft introduction. But if it was a loss that we can identify in Salesforce.com, why do we need the sales rep to? I mean, there was a reason we lost it. So just, I mean, I would imagine we have a list of Salesforce data is not perfect, but don't we have a bunch of just no wins? We could just start calling into accounts.
If we have no problem with that, then I can just take a Salesforce import or export list and just start.
You might not want to look through, 1,000 deals that we've lost. I'm just saying that, if it's an existing customer, I would want the salesperson to make the introduction. But if it was a no win, I don't know why we would need permission. Because the sales rep's not going to want to give that to you because they will perceive that, I did something that screwed it up and you're going to come back at me, and that's not what it's for. But I don't know why we would need permission for that. And I think you're going to want to understand why we lost just as importantly, if not more importantly, than why we won.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
if that's something that we can work
it.
with, Steve, that's something I can kind of ping you on. We can work with on that.
I would think that, wouldn't Jeff Lancedal have that?
On what, the law?
Well, we've got Salesforce access.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
Salesforce access.
Yeah, there you go. I just do it.
Yeah, and similar to that, we've had, with Steve's help, Bob McCarthy went straight from the RSM. You can see they didn't introduce to anybody, just went straight to the customers, which we found that was pretty successful. So.